They misunderstood you. Good. You're now free. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. Someone, a friend, a partner, a colleague, or even a stranger, has judged you, twisted your words, or seen you in a way that feels so far from who you are. Maybe they called you selfish when you were just setting boundaries. Maybe they labeled you cold when you were protecting your peace. Maybe they didn't even try to understand, and that stung deeply. But here's the truth. Their misunderstanding doesn't define you, and the moment you stop needing them to get it, you step into a kind of freedom most people only dream of. Welcome to a journey inspired by Stoic philosophy, a way of thinking that's been guiding people through life's chaos for over 2,000 years. Today, we're diving into a truth that can transform how you live. You don't need to be understood to live authentically. You don't need permission, approval, or validation from anyone to be yourself. The pain of being misunderstood by family, by a lover, by society, can feel like a weight on your chest. But Stoicism teaches us that this pain is not the problem. The problem is our desperate need to fix it, to explain ourselves, to make others see us clearly. When we let go of that need, we unlock something powerful. Freedom. Let's be real. We've all been there. You pour your heart into a conversation, only to realize the other person walked away with a completely wrong idea of who you are. Maybe you've spent hours replaying their words, wondering how they could miss the point so badly. Maybe you felt the urge to defend yourself, to set the record straight, to prove you're not what they think. It's exhausting, isn't it? That cycle of craving, understanding, chasing approval, and feeling crushed when it doesn't come. It's a trap. And the Stoics, those ancient philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca knew it well. Epictetus once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that. The opinions of others, their misunderstandings, their judgments, their outside events. You can't control them. No matter how hard you try, you can't force someone to see you the way you see yourself. But you can control how much you let their misunderstanding affect you. That's where Stoic detachment comes in. It's not about being cold or shutting people out. It's about finding peace in knowing that your worth doesn't depend on their approval. So, why do we care so much about being understood? It's human nature. We're social creatures, wired to connect, to belong. When someone misjudges us, it feels like a threat to our place in the world. If your family thinks you're ungrateful, if your partner sees you as distant, if society labels you as something you're not, it hurts. It's like a splinter in your soul. You want to pull it out, to make them see the truth. But chasing that understanding often leaves us more trapped, more frustrated, more dependent on others to feel okay about ourselves. Stoicism offers a different path. It says, stop. Stop trying to control what others think. Stop defending yourself against their misconceptions. Stop needing their validation to feel whole. When you do that, you take back your power. You free yourself from the endless cycle of explanation and justification. You start living for you, not for their opinions. And that, my friend, is where freedom begins. In this video, we're going to unpack this idea step by step. We'll explore the pain of being misunderstood and why it cuts so deep. We'll dive into what the Stoics taught about letting go of the need to defend yourself. We'll look at the freedom that comes from embracing misunderstanding as a natural part of life. And most importantly, we'll give you practical tools rooted in Stoic wisdom to start living this way today. Because this isn't just philosophy, it's a way of life that can change everything. Imagine waking up tomorrow and feeling at peace, even if your boss misjudges your intentions. Imagine staying calm when your partner doesn't get why you need space, Imagine walking through the world, secure in who you are, untouched by the noise of others' opinions. That's the promise of Stoicism. That's the freedom we're talking about. But to get there, we need to start with a hard truth. You will always be misunderstood by someone, always, no matter how kind you are, how clear you speak, how good your intentions are. Someone will get it wrong. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who faced criticism and betrayal daily, wrote in his Meditations, "When another blames you, or hates you, or people voice their evil opinions about you, look at their souls. They are the ones confined, not you." His words are a reminder. Their misunderstanding is their burden, not yours. This journey isn't about becoming indifferent to others. It's about becoming so grounded in your own truth that their opinions lose their grip on you. It's about living with courage, authenticity, and inner peace, no matter what the world throws your way. So let's start here. With this simple but radical idea, you don't need to be understood to be free. You just need to let go. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the pain of being misunderstood, where it comes from, why it hurts so much, and how it shows up in our relationships with family, friends, and society. For now, take a moment to reflect. Who's misunderstanding you right now? What would it feel like to let go of the need to make them see? That's the first step. That's where your freedom begins. Let's talk about the sting. You know the one, the sharp, aching feeling that hits when someone you care about gets you completely wrong. Maybe it's your parents thinking you're ungrateful when all you're doing is trying to carve your own path. Maybe it's your partner assuming you're distant when you're just wrestling with your own thoughts, trying to protect your peace. Or maybe it's society, quick to slap a label on you: lazy, selfish, too much, not enough, without ever bothering to ask who you really are. Being misunderstood hurts. It's raw, it's personal, and it can make you question yourself in ways that feel like betrayal. But here's the Stoic truth we're building toward. That pain doesn't have to control you. To get there, we first need to understand where it comes from and why it cuts so deep. Picture this. You're sitting across from your best friend, pouring your heart out about a tough decision you've made. Maybe you quit your job to chase a dream, or you set a boundary with a toxic family member. You're expecting support, maybe a nod of understanding. Instead, they tilt their head and say, "I don't get why you'd do that." That's kind of selfish, isn't it? Your stomach drops. You try to explain, but the words feel like they're bouncing off a wall. They don't see you. They don't get it. And suddenly, you're not just defending your choice, you're defending your entire character. That moment, that sinking feeling, is the pain of being misunderstood. It's like being locked out of your own truth. This pain isn't just a fleeting emotion. It's rooted in something primal. As human beings, we crave connection. We want to be seen, to be known, to have our intentions and values reflected back to us. When someone misunderstands us, it feels like a rejection of our core self. It's not just about the words they say. It's about the gap between who we are and who they think we are. That gap can feel like a chasm, especially when it comes from people we love. Your mother, who thinks you're abandoning the family because you moved across the country for a new opportunity. Your partner, who calls you emotionally unavailable because you need time alone to recharge. Society, quick to judge your quiet nature as arrogance or your ambition as greed. Each misunderstanding is a little wound, and over time, those wounds can pile up, making you feel isolated, unseen, unworthy. Let's ground this in a story. Imagine Sarah, a young woman in her late 20s, who's always been the dependable one in her family. She's the one who shows up for every holiday, helps her parents with errands, and listens to her siblings' problems. But Sarah's been struggling. She's burned out, stretched thin, and she decides to take a step back, to focus on her own mental health. She starts saying no to extra responsibilities, carving out time for herself. Her family's reaction: they call her distant, ungrateful, even selfish. "You've changed," her mother says, her voice thick with disappointment. Sarah tries to explain she's not abandoning them. She's just trying to survive. But the words don't land. Her family doesn't get it. They see her boundaries as rejection, her self-care as betrayal. And Sarah, she's left feeling guilty, small and alone, wondering if she's wrong for prioritizing herself. Or think about James, who's in a relationship where he feels constantly misjudged. He's introspective, someone who processes emotions quietly. When he's upset, he doesn't shout or cry. He retreats, thinks, and comes back when he's ready. His partner, though, sees this as coldness. "Why don't you ever open up?" they ask. Frustrated, James tries to explain that he is opening up, just in his own way. But it's like they're speaking different languages. The more he tries to clarify, the worse it gets. He starts doubting himself. Maybe I am cold. Maybe I'm not enough. That doubt, that self-questioning, is what misunderstanding does to us. It makes us turn inward, not with clarity, but with confusion. Society doesn't help. We live in a world quick to judge, quick to categorize. Social media amplifies this. Every post, every choice, every silence is scrutinized. If you don't share enough, you're aloof. If you share too much, you're attention-seeking. If you don't fit the mold, whether it's cultural expectations, gender norms, or professional standards, you're labeled as other. Misunderstanding becomes a collective force, a tidal wave that can make you feel like you're drowning in other people's perceptions. And the worst part, we often internalize it. We start believing the labels, the judgments, the misconceptions. We start thinking, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not who I thought I was. This is where the pain festers. It's not just the initial sting of being misunderstood, it's the way it lingers, making us question our worth, our choices, our identity. We replay the moment, obsess over what we could have said differently, try to find the perfect words to make them understand. We defend, we explain, we justify, and in doing so, we hand over our power. We make our peace dependent on their approval. That's the trap Stoicism warns us about. The Stoics, like Seneca, understood this pain. In his Letters from a Stoic, Seneca wrote, "Why does it matter what others think of you? Their opinion does not make you who you are." He knew that seeking understanding from others is a losing game. People see the world through their own lenses shaped by their experiences, biases, and limitations. No matter how clearly you explain yourself, their perception will always be filtered through that lens. You can't control it, and trying to control it only chains you to their judgment. So, why does it hurt so much? Because being misunderstood feels like a denial of your truth. It feels like you're invisible, like your voice doesn't matter. When it comes from people you love, your parents, your partner, your closest friends, it's even worse. It's personal. It's a betrayal of the trust you placed in them to see you. And when it comes from society, it's overwhelming, like the world itself is against you. But here's the Stoic perspective that starts to shift everything, that pain is real. But it's not the misunderstanding itself that's the problem. It's your attachment to being understood. It's the belief that you need their validation to be okay. This is where we start to find our way out. The pain of being misunderstood is universal, but it doesn't have to define you. In the next part, we'll dive into what the Stoics teach about letting go of the need to defend yourself, how to release that attachment, and step into the freedom of living for your own truth. For now, reflect on this. Who's misunderstanding you right now? What's the story you're telling yourself about their judgment? And what would it feel like to let that story go? That's the first crack in the wall, the first step toward freedom. In the last part, we explored the pain of being misunderstood, how it cuts deep when family, friends, or society see us in ways that don't align with our truth. That pain is real, rough, and human. But here's where Stoicism steps in with a radical shift in perspective. You don't need to defend yourself against their misconceptions. You don't need to explain, justify, or plead for understanding. In fact, the moment you stop trying to prove yourself to others, you unlock a profound kind of freedom. This is the Stoic principle of not defending yourself, rooted in the practice of Stoic detachment. It's not about shutting down or giving up. It's about reclaiming your power by letting go of what you can't control. Let's dive into what the Stoics teach us about this, why it matters, and how it leads to true freedom. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is a simple but powerful idea: focus on what's in your control and let go of what isn't. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it bluntly in his Enchiridion: there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. What's beyond our control? The thoughts, opinions, and judgments of others. No matter how clearly you speak, how pure your intentions are, or how hard you try to explain yourself, you cannot force someone to understand you. Their perception is shaped by their own experiences, biases, and limitations, none of which you can change. Trying to defend yourself against their misunderstanding is like trying to hold water in your hands. The harder you grip, the more it slips away. This is where the Stoic principle of don't defend yourself comes in. It's not about staying silent or letting people walk over you. It's about recognizing that your worth doesn't depend on their approval. When someone misunderstands you, when your colleague thinks you're aloof, when your partner calls you selfish, when your family labels you as ungrateful, your instinct is to jump in and set the record straight. You want to say, "No, that's not who I am. Let me explain." But every time you do that, you're handing over a piece of your peace to their judgment. You're tying your happiness to something outside your control. The Stoics teach us to stop, to pause, to let their misunderstanding exist without feeling the need to fix it. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who faced constant criticism and betrayal, wrote in his Meditations, "You have no need to be ashamed of the things that are not in your power. If they blame you for something, what is it to you? Their soul is their own, and so is yours." This is Stoic detachment in action. It's not about being cold or indifferent. It's about protecting your inner peace by refusing to let others' opinions define you. Marcus knew that defending yourself against every criticism is a trap. It pulls you into a cycle of reaction where your energy, your focus, and your sense of self are at the mercy of someone else's perspective. Instead, he urges us to turn inward, to anchor ourselves in our own truth. Let's make this practical. Imagine you're at a family dinner, and your sibling makes a comment about how you've changed since you started prioritizing your career. They say it with a tone that implies you're selfish, that you've abandoned the family. Your first instinct is to defend yourself. "I'm not selfish. I'm just trying to build a life I'm proud of." You feel the heat rising, the urge to make them understand. But what if you didn't? What if, instead, you took a breath and let their words hang in the air? What if you said to yourself, "Their opinion is theirs. It doesn't change who I am. That's the Stoic move. It's not easy, it takes practice, but it's liberating. You're no longer fighting a battle you can't win. You're choosing your peace over their perception. Seneca, another Stoic heavyweight, offers more wisdom on this. In his Letters from a Stoic, he wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears. Let others judge you as they will. Their judgment does not make you worse or better." Seneca's point is clear. Other people's misunderstandings don't diminish you. They don't change your character, your values, or your worth. When you defend yourself, you're not really defending your truth. You're seeking their validation. And that's a dangerous game, because it puts your self-worth in the hands of someone else. Stoic detachment means stepping out of that game entirely. So what does this detachment look like in practice? It's not about ignoring people or cutting them off. It's about shifting your focus from their opinion to your own actions. Epictetus taught that our job is to act in accordance with our values, honesty, courage, kindness, and to let the results fall where they may. If you've acted with integrity, if you've done what aligns with your principles, then you've done your part. Whether someone understands your intentions or not is irrelevant. Their misunderstanding is their burden, not yours. Let's consider another example. Think about a workplace scenario where your boss misinterprets your quiet focus as disengagement. You've been working hard, putting in long hours, but they pull you aside and say, "You don't seem committed to the team." Your heart races. You want to list every late night, every extra effort, to prove them wrong. But a Stoic approach would be different. You'd ask yourself, have I done my work with excellence? Have I acted in line with my values? If the answer is yes, then your boss's opinion doesn't change that truth. You might calmly clarify your efforts if it feels necessary, but you don't need to convince them. You don't need their understanding to know your own worth. That's freedom. This principle ties directly to the Stoic idea of freedom. True freedom, according to the Stoics, isn't about external circumstances. It's about inner sovereignty. It's about living in a way that's true to yourself, regardless of what others think. When you stop defending yourself, you stop giving others the power to define you. You take back control of your mind, your emotions, and your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective. I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after." This shows the balance. Stoics aren't closed off to feedback, but they don't let others' opinions become their reality. They stay grounded in reason and self-awareness. This doesn't mean it's easy. Letting go of the need to defend yourself can feel like letting go of a lifeline. We're conditioned to believe that being understood is the key to being valued. But the Stoics challenge us to flip that script. What if being misunderstood is a gift? What if it's a reminder that your truth doesn't need external validation? Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish or stupid." That's the courage Stoicism calls for, the courage to stand in your truth, even when the world doesn't see it. In the next part, we'll explore the benefits of embracing this mindset, how accepting misunderstanding as a natural part of life can free up your energy, deepen your peace, and empower you to live authentically. For now, reflect on this. Where in your life are you defending yourself right now? Who are you trying to convince? And what would it feel like to let that go? To trust in your own truth? That's the Stoic path to freedom, and it's one worth walking. You've been misunderstood. Maybe it was a small moment, a friend, misreading your intentions, or something bigger, like a family member or society labeling you in a way that feels like a betrayal of who you are. In the last part, we explored the Stoic teaching of not defending yourself, of letting go of the need to correct others' perceptions. Now, let's take it a step further. What if being misunderstood isn't just something to tolerate, but something to embrace? What if it's a gateway to freedom? In Stoic philosophy, accepting misunderstanding doesn't just protect your peace, it unlocks energy, clarity, and authenticity that can transform your life. Let's dive into the benefits of this mindset, drawing on Stoic wisdom, historical examples, and modern stories to show how letting go of the need to be understood sets you free. First, let's talk about what freedom really means in the Stoic sense. Freedom isn't about having no obstacles or living a life free of judgment. It's about inner liberation, living in alignment with your values, unshaken by external opinions. When you stop needing others to understand you, you stop handing them the reins to your emotional life. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who navigated a world of political intrigue and public scrutiny, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By embracing misunderstanding, you reclaim that power. You stop wasting energy on battles you can't win and start directing it toward what truly matters, living a life of purpose." One of the greatest benefits of accepting misunderstanding is the energy it frees up. Think about how much mental and emotional bandwidth you spend trying to clarify, justify, or prove yourself. Every time you replay a conversation, wondering how you could have explained better, or every time you feel the urge to defend your choices, you're burning energy that could be used elsewhere. Imagine redirecting that energy toward your goals, your growth, your relationships with people who do see you. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's in our control, our actions, our thoughts, our character. When you let go of the need to be understood, you stop pouring energy into the uncontrollable and start investing it in what you can shape. Consider the story of Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism. Zeno was a merchant who lost everything in a shipwreck. Instead of defending his worth or lamenting his misfortune, he accepted his new reality and turned to philosophy. He didn't waste energy trying to convince others. He was still a successful man. He redefined success on his own terms. That choice led him to study under the philosophers of Athens and eventually found a school of thought that's still changing lives today. Zeno's story shows us that letting go of external validation, whether it's wealth, status, or understanding, frees you to create something meaningful. His shipwreck wasn't just a loss, it was a liberation. Now, let's bring this to a modern context. Meet Emily, a graphic designer in her 30s who decided to leave a high-paying corporate job to start her own freelance business. Her parents didn't get it. They called her reckless, said she was throwing away stability. Her friends thought she was chasing a pipe dream. At first, Emily felt crushed. She spent hours explaining her vision, trying to make them see why this was right for her. But the more she explained, the more drained she felt. Then she stumbled across Stoicism, specifically Epictetus's words. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish or stupid. Emily decided to stop defending her choice. She let her parents and friends think what they wanted and focused on building her business. The result, not only did her business thrive, but she felt lighter, more focused, and more confident than ever. By embracing their misunderstanding, she freed herself from their expectations and found the energy to pursue her passion. Another benefit of accepting misunderstanding is clarity. When you stop trying to control how others see you, you gain a sharper sense of who you are. Defending yourself often pulls you into a fog of self-doubt. You start questioning your choice, wondering if maybe they're right. Maybe you are selfish, or cold, or wrong. But when you let go of that need, you create space to reflect on your own values. You ask yourself, am I acting with integrity? Am I living in alignment with what I believe? If the answer is yes, then their misunderstanding becomes irrelevant. You see yourself more clearly because you're no longer filtering your worth through their lens. Seneca captures this beautifully in his Letters from a Stoic. Let us be satisfied with our own approval, and let us not care what others think of us. This clarity is powerful. It's what allowed historical figures like Socrates to face criticism and even death with unshakable calm. Socrates was misunderstood by many in Athens, accused of corrupting the youth and defying the gods. Instead of desperately defending himself, he stood firm in his truth, choosing to live and die by his principles. His clarity about his own values gave him a kind of freedom most of us can only aspire to, a freedom that no jury, no crowd, no misunderstanding could take away. In today's world, this clarity can be a lifeline. Think about social media, where misunderstanding is practically a guarantee. Post about your ambitions, and someone will call you arrogant. Share your struggles, and someone will say you're weak. The noise of judgment is endless. But when you embrace misunderstanding as a natural part of life, you stop letting that noise define you. You start asking, what do I stand for? What's my purpose? That clarity becomes your compass, guiding you through the chaos of others' opinions. Finally, accepting misunderstanding empowers you to live authentically. When you're not tethered to the need for approval, you're free to be yourself fully, unapologetically. You make choices based on your values, not on what will make others understand you. You speak your truth. Even if it's unpopular, you set boundaries. Even if they're misread as selfishness. This authenticity is what Stoicism is all about. Living in harmony with your own nature, regardless of external pressures. Take the example of Malala Yousafzai. As a young girl advocating for education in Pakistan, she was misunderstood by many, labeled as rebellious, dangerous, or naive. Instead of defending herself against every critic, she stayed true to her mission. Her authenticity, rooted in her belief in education for all, gave her the strength to face unimaginable challenges. Malala's story reminds us that when you let go of the need to be understood, you free yourself to live for something bigger than approval. This freedom, clarity, and energy, these are the gifts of embracing misunderstanding. They're what allow you to move through the world with purpose, unshaken by the judgments of others. In the next part, we'll explore practical Stoic exercises to help you put this into action, tools to let go of the need to be understood and start living with this newfound freedom. For now, reflect on this. Where in your life are you spending energy trying to be understood? What could you do with that energy if you let their misunderstanding be? That's the freedom Stoicism promises. And it's closer than you think. You've felt the pain of being misunderstood. You've seen how Stoicism teaches us to stop defending ourselves against others' judgments. You've explored the freedom, clarity, and energy that come from embracing misunderstanding. Now, it's time to make this real in your life. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy to think about. It's a practice to live by. It's about taking actionable steps to let go of the need to be understood, to anchor yourself in your own truth, and to walk through the world with unshakable peace. In this part, we'll dive into practical Stoic exercises, meditation, journaling, and strategies for facing real-life situations that will help you release the grip of others' opinions and step into the freedom you've been seeking. Let's get started. Practice 1. The Stoic Pause. A moment of reflection. One of the simplest yet most powerful Stoic tools is the pause. When someone misunderstands you, whether it's a sharp comment from a family member or a misjudgment from a colleague, your instinct is to react, to explain, to defend. But that reaction often pulls you into a cycle of frustration. The Stoics teach us to pause. First, Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This pause isn't just about staying quiet, it's about creating space to choose your response. Here's how to practice the Stoic pause. The next time you feel misunderstood, take a deep breath and count to 5. In those 5 seconds, ask yourself 3 questions. What is in my control here? Am I acting in line with my values? Does their opinion change my truth? For example, imagine your friend says, "You're always so distant lately." Instead of jumping to explain why you've needed space, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, am I being true to my need for rest and balance? If the answer is yes, their misunderstanding doesn't diminish your choice. Let their words pass without needing to correct them. This pause helps you detach from the emotional pull of their judgment and stay grounded in your own reality. Try this daily for a week. Set a reminder on your phone or write, "Pause" on a sticky note. When you feel the urge to defend yourself, take those 5 seconds. Over time, this practice rewires your instincts, helping you respond with calm instead of reacting with desperation. It's a small step that builds the muscle of Stoic detachment, freeing you from the need to be understood. Practice 2. Journaling for clarity. The Stoic reflection. Journaling is a cornerstone of Stoic practice, used by Marcus Aurelius himself in his meditations. Writing helps you process the pain of being misunderstood and clarify your own truth. It's a way to talk to yourself, to sift through the noise of others' opinions and reconnect with what matters. Here's a specific journaling exercise to let go of the need to be understood. Set aside 10 minutes each evening. Grab a notebook or open a document and write about a moment when you felt misunderstood. Describe the situation. Who was it? What did they say? How did it make you feel? Then, shift to a Stoic perspective. Write down, what was in my control in this situation? Did I act according to my values? Why do I feel the need to be understood here? Finally, end with a Stoic affirmation, like, "Their opinion is theirs. My truth is mine. I am enough as I am." For example, let's say your coworker accused you of not being a team player because you didn't volunteer for an extra project. In your journal, you might write, "Today, Sarah said I'm not pulling my weight because I didn't take on the new client pitch. It hurt. It felt like she didn't see how hard I've been working. But when I think about it, I said no because I'm already stretched thin and want to do my current tasks well. That's in my control. Her judgment isn't. I don't need her to understand my choice to know it was right for me." Then close with, "Her words don't define me. I choose to focus on my work and my peace." This practice does 2 things. It helps you process the emotional sting of misunderstanding, and it reinforces your independence from others' opinions. Over time, you'll notice patterns. Maybe you're seeking approval from certain people or reacting strongly to specific triggers. That awareness is the first step to letting go. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good." Journaling helps you tap into that fountain, finding clarity and strength in your own truth. Practice 3. Negative visualization, preparing for misunderstanding. The Stoics used a practice called premeditatio malorum, or negative visualization, to prepare for life's challenges. This involves imagining potential difficulties so you're not caught off guard when they happen. For our purpose, you can use this to prepare for being misunderstood. By anticipating it, you reduce its emotional impact and practice responding with stoic calm. Here's how to do it. Each morning, take 5 minutes to visualize a situation where you might be misunderstood. Maybe it's a conversation with your partner where they misinterpret your need for space as rejection, or a meeting where your boss assumes your quiet demeanor means you're disengaged. Picture the scenario, vividly their words, their tone, the way it feels. Then, imagine yourself responding with stoic detachment. You pause, breathe, and think, their misunderstanding is not my burden. I know my truth. Visualize yourself staying calm, letting their words pass, and moving forward without needing to defend yourself. For instance, imagine you're about to tell your parents you're not attending a family event because you need time to recharge. Visualize them saying, "You're being selfish. Family comes first." Feel the sting, but then see yourself pausing. You say calmly, "I understand you feel that way, but I'm making this choice for my well-being." Or maybe you say nothing at all, letting their words exist without pulling you in. By practicing this in your mind, you train yourself to stay steady when it happens in real life. Seneca recommended this practice, writing in his Letters from a Stoic, "We should project our thoughts ahead of us at every turn and have in mind all possible eventualities. Be preparing for misunderstanding. You strip it of its power to surprise or hurt you. You're ready to let it go, which frees you to focus on what you can control, your actions and your peace." Practice 4. Reframing misunderstanding as a gift. This practice is about shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing misunderstanding as a wound, view it as a gift, a reminder that your worth doesn't depend on others' approval. Epictetus said, "If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity." This exercise helps you reframe misunderstanding as a chance to strengthen that integrity. When you feel misunderstood, take a moment to write or think, what is this misunderstanding teaching me? Maybe it's showing you where you're still seeking validation. Maybe it's highlighting your strength in standing by your choices. For example, if your friend thinks you're being distant because you've set boundaries, reframe it. This is teaching me to value my own needs, even when others don't understand. Or, if society labels you as too ambitious, see it as, this is a reminder that my goals are mine, not theirs. Try this in real-time situations. The next time someone misjudges you, pause and silently reframe their words as a gift. It's not easy. At first it feels counterintuitive to welcome something painful, but over time, this shift changes everything. You start to see misunderstanding as a test of your stoic resolve, a chance to practice living for yourself, putting it all together. These practices, pausing, journaling, visualizing, and reframing, work together to build a stoic mindset. Start small. Try the stoic pause today. Add journaling this evening. Practice negative visualization tomorrow morning. Over time, weave these into your routine. They're not just exercises, they're tools to free you from the need to be understood. As Seneca wrote, "The happy life is to have a mind that is free, lofty, fearless, and steadfast." These practices help you build that mind. In the next part, we'll wrap up with a conclusion that ties everything together, reinforcing the freedom of letting go and giving you a final push to live this stoic truth. For now, pick one practice to try today. Maybe it's pausing before you defend yourself or journaling about a recent misunderstanding. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to let go of needing their approval? That's the freedom you're building, one stoic step at a time. They misunderstood you. Good. You're now free. Let those words echo one last time. We started this journey with that bold truth. And now, as we close, it's time to make it your own. Over the course of this exploration, We've delved into the pain of being misunderstood, how it stings when family, friends, or society see you through a distorted lens. We've uncovered the Stoic wisdom that teaches us to stop defending ourselves, to let go of the need to be understood. We've seen the freedom, clarity, and energy that come from embracing misunderstanding as a natural part of life. And we've equipped you with practical Stoic tools: pausing, journaling, visualizing, and reframing to live this philosophy every day. Now, it's time to tie it all together and step forward into the freedom Stoicism promises. This isn't just an idea, it's a way of life. And it starts with you. Right now, let's revisit the core truth. You don't need to be understood to live authentically. The opinions of others, their judgments, their misconceptions, their labels are outside your control. Trying to change them is like chasing the wind, exhausting and futile. But when you let go of that need, you reclaim your power. You stop tying your worth to their approval. You start living for your own truth, your own values, your own purpose. That's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote in his Meditations, the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do. Your freedom lies in your actions, not their understanding. Think about where you started. Maybe you came to this video carrying the weight of a misunderstanding, a parent who thinks you're selfish, a partner who misreads your silence, or a world that slaps a label on you that doesn't fit. That weight is real, but it doesn't have to hold you down. Stoicism shows us that the pain of being misunderstood comes not from their words, but from our attachment to being seen the way we want. When you release that attachment, you unlock something extraordinary, a life where your peace, your confidence, and your joy depend on you alone. This journey hasn't been about shutting people out or becoming indifferent. It's about becoming so grounded in your own truth that the noise of others' opinions fades into the background. It's about walking through the world with the quiet strength of a Stoic, knowing that your worth isn't up for debate. Epictetus reminded us, you become what you give your attention to. When you stop giving your attention to others' misunderstandings, you start giving it to what matters: your character, your purpose, your life. So, what does this look like in practice? It's choosing to pause when your instinct is to defend yourself. It's journaling to clarify your truth when someone's judgment shakes you. It's visualizing moments of misunderstanding so you're ready to face them with calm. It's reframing their misconceptions as a gift, a reminder that you don't need their validation to be whole. These practices aren't just exercises, they're the building blocks of a freer, more authentic life. They're how you take the pain of being misunderstood and turn it into strength. Let's imagine a day in your future. You wake up, knowing someone out there doesn't get you, maybe they never will. But instead of feeling that familiar sting, you feel steady. You know their opinion doesn't change who you are. You go through your day making choices that align with your values, not their expectations. You say no when you need to, without guilt. You speak your truth, even if it's misheard. You move through the world with a quiet confidence, because you've learned to be your own anchor. That's the freedom Stoicism offers. That's the life you're building. This isn't a one-time shift. It's a practice. The world will keep misunderstanding you. People will keep projecting their biases, their fears, their limitations onto you. But each time it happens, you have a choice. Defend yourself and stay trapped, or let it go and stay free. Choose freedom. Choose to focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, your character. As Seneca wrote in his Letters from a Stoic, no one can lead you astray. If you hold fast to your own nature, hold fast to yours. Here's your call to action. Start today. Pick one Stoic practice from the last part and commit to it for the next week. Maybe it's the Stoic pause, taking 5 seconds to breathe before you respond to a misunderstanding. Maybe it's journaling each night to process a moment when you felt unseen. Maybe it's visualizing a tough conversation so you're ready to face it with calm. Whatever you choose, do it with intention. Make it a habit. And when you feel the pull to explain yourself, to make them understand, come back to this truth. They misunderstood you. Good. You're now free. This journey is yours to walk. Not everyone will see you, but you don't need them to. You have everything you need within you: your reason, your values, your strength. Stoicism isn't about escaping the world. It's about living in it with courage and clarity, no matter what comes your way. So go out there, live your truth. Let their misunderstandings be their burden, not yours. And know that every step you take away from the need to be understood is a step toward a freer, fuller life. We'll end with one final Stoic reminder from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Hold that strength close. It's yours, always.